Those impacted by pollution need to be the first to benefit from clean energy solutions.
I'll just talk for 30 seconds about our very first project. It was a Catholic school in the Bronx, and the school was burning oil for heat and for hot water, and it was next to a highway. And the ventilation system in the school would suck in air pollution from the highway and from the oil burning heating system in the basement and basically dump all of that air pollution into the cafeteria. And every day, all the 4 and 5-year-olds have had asthma attacks. One day, a 4-year-old had an asthma attack. His parents came to take him to the ER, and later that night, he died. This isn't ancient Mesopotamia where we should be, burning fossil fuels in our schools. This is America in the 21st century. So it's time to move forward and electrify all of our buildings, move them off of fossil fuels, fully electrify them, and create the jobs that we need across the country.
Thank you for that. Secretary Granholm, as we listen to Danelle's stories, how do you think about the Department of Energy's role in investing in technology while ensuring equity is at the core?
Yeah, it's a great question, Donald. I so appreciated what you have to say, because equity has to go hand in hand with our climate investments, because we know our current energy system doesn't work for too many Americans, particularly in communities of color, not only from the environmental injustice that you say where children can't even breathe, but in addition to that, the poorest families, as you know, in this country pay far more of their income for energy costs, like upwards of 30%, whereas higher income families pay about 3% or less. That's an injustice too. It's designed, the American Jobs Plan is to direct 40% of all investments within communities that have been left behind for far too long. So those impacted by pollution need to be the first to benefit from clean energy solutions.
The only path to greenhouse gas reduction at scale in the United States is through communities of color and low and moderate income communities. Massive green infrastructure investments in these communities, that is the whole ballgame moving forward.
So as President Biden says, when we think about climate change, we should be thinking jobs. With the American Jobs Plan that he has proposed, the whole notion here is that we're going to rebuild America by creating millions of good paying jobs in communities all over the country in this clean energy sector. But in addition to that, the American Jobs Plan is going to give HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, up to $20 billion to help train more people of color for STEM careers overall. So small businesses in communities of color and economically disadvantaged communities are also going to gain greater access to credit and to venture capital and to R&D funding because of this focus on 40% of the benefits going to communities who have for far too long been unseen and been disproportionately hurt by environmental pollution.
We all see entrepreneurs as the engine for our country's economic growth in the coming decades. As we know from history, we do not suffer from a shortage of ideas or ambition. How can we use the momentum we have now to become a model for successful climate innovation, to reach the speed and scale we need to reach in the next decade?
There needs to be connective tissue between those folks and communities in need of environmental justice who have been, let's be frank, badly mistreated in the past. who rightfully have issues with trust. I mean, we're seeing that in terms of the vaccine distribution, how the legacy of historic disenfranchisement impacts what happens today. We need low-income communities across the country to embrace clean technologies and the jobs and the health and the energy savings that come with it. And part of that is building up trusted intermediaries across the country that can connect municipal government to minority-owned small businesses, to startups, to Wall Street banks.
For those of us in this administration, it's not a 10-year window, that we've got 4 years, and now, what is it, less than 950 days to be able to make a lasting impact, to get this going. The American Jobs Plan has got to be a critical portion of that momentum. It invests $180 billion on research and development, great, and over $100 billion on manufacturing, which is great. And we want to make sure that the best ideas that are being dreamed up in the labs are being manufactured in America, putting people to work and addressing this existential crisis that we're all facing, which is the climate crisis. Our hair is on fire, and we're going to keep it on fire until we have none left, because we have got to solve this problem, and soon.
Thank you both so much.